Hello everyone, my name is Dani and today it's an awesome day because we are driving around the circuit of Silverstone, which is the home circuit for many F1 teams and one of the best classic circuits in the entire calendar, starting off the lap with a little bit of a loose rear axle, still focusing on great exit speeds. There are some bumps on the outside which I avoided here. Turn 1 and 2 is absolutely flat, and then a big braking zone just before the curb starts, rotating the car, keeping it about the middle of the track to prepare for turn 4, which is one of the most important slow speed exits of this track. A very long flat out section, a DRS and an overtaking opportunity as well. It ends the first sector. Second sector starts with the entry of Brooklands, which turns into Lafille, which is an awesome ever-going long corner where you really need to apply the throttle precisely to not lose the back end and use every millimeter but not an inch more of the circuit. Cops is easy flat. These F1 cars are absolutely amazing how much downforce they generate. Even the first part of Maggots, Baggots and Chapel is flat. We need small tap on the brakes, a little lift, and then we are back on full power once again. This track offers 70% of full throttle, reaching up to 330 km/h, shift down to 5th gear, turning the car pretty fast and aggressive into stow as well, arriving into the last chicane. Brake, the tires start to overheat just a little bit. We managed to find traction and cross the line with a 126.2. I think my live commentary was awesome, so let me do a slower lap. Starting the lap, exit is really important. You don't want to lose the back end here. You want to steer the car the minimum amount, full power. And there are some bumps on the outside of the track. You can even visually see how the lines are not completely straight. You can avoid these by coming in the middle a little bit and gain lap time, especially if you are driving a low right race setup. Turn 1 and 2 are nevertheless completely flat. Take the shortest distance possible, straighten out the wheel for the braking zone, which is quite hard. Make sure you are off the brakes quite early to, with a stable platform of a car, carry high minimum speed. Open up the steering wheel for turn 4, where you use everything of the circuit, full power as soon as possible, shortest line taken again, and open up the DRS. And this is an absolutely perfect first sector. Then we arrive to Brooklands. We brake while turn. Make sure you don't press too much brake because you will lock one of your tires, have rear lock or understeer on the entry. You want to be smooth on the pedals here, especially with the direction change from from left to right, long right corner. We want to be back on nearly full power by the second half of the turning period. Again, fully flat out section. There is no secret here. Just make sure to be really smooth with how you turn the car. Don't scrape up too much speed. Hit the nice racing line. We are still on full power here. We want to stay at the middle of the track to open up all these turns the best. Obviously we don't want to open up too much because then we just lose lap time because we complete unnecessary amount of distance, and really outside of the track is always dirty anyway. And this exit and the opening of the DRS ends the second sector. Now we are in the last part of the track where we need to use this curb on the outside a little bit, turn in with just a little tap on the brakes and the lift, and then back on full power in 5th or 6th gear. Use every millimeter of the track. This is probably the easiest place to invalidate your left hand. You have to position yourself to the right side again. You can touch the curb a little bit on the entry, but it ends while you brake, so you cannot be completely on the outside because otherwise you will be on the grass. Again, just let the car roll out towards the middle of the track, and by this point you basically want to be in close to full power. It's a little bit uphill as well. You just want to cross the line as soon as possible with the highest speed possible and start it all over again. Now we go back to the garage and check the setup. It's one of the lowest downforce circuit within the F1 game because so much flat. And also ground effect cars, they generate the most amount of downforce with the floor. The wings are just extra drag, especially in a race when we want to overtake. So we are at the lower range of downforce, mid, quite mid, still just a little bit of a lower range, especially if we compare this to like F1 game standard. And then comes the differential. I told it in many other videos, but if you have higher on throttle, it will prevent you from rotating the car while you are back on the power, but you will have a little bit more traction and it will be more stable. Differential off throttle, if you go lower, you are more unstable on the braking. If you go higher, you are more stable on the braking. And engine braking, it's pretty straightforward. It controls how much the engine helps you brake down the car. If it's really high, it will move the true brake bias a little bit backwards, especially when you are shifting down the gears, and you can maybe lock your rear tires like that. However, engine braking usually helps you rotate the car in moments when you are not pressing the power but not really pressing the brakes either. It will still help you slow and then rotate. Maximum amount of cambers, again, high speed circuit, big loads. This is simply the fastest in the game. And then a very stiff front suspension. Because of the many traction zones, we still need to use quite a soft suspension on the rear. And the anti-roll bar, I think the stiffer will work a little bit better for most of the people, but probably because we need to attack some high curbs, especially the last 2-3 corners. It needs the car to be lenient in terms of direction changes and bumps and have genuine rotation with weight transfer, so probably that's why the anti-roll bar is on the little bit softer side here, because if it's too stiff, imagine it like an anti-dive. You press the brakes and you cannot really rotate the car, and on tracks where you have a lot of long corners, even attacking the curbs, soft anti-roll bar will help the car to be a little bit more loose, but also you can point the nose in while braking. You can also little bit clank back and have more traction, smoother experience on the curves while accelerating. So probably that's why it is at the lower range compared to some other high-speed circuits where we even saw sometimes maximum values. And then the right height, again, you just need to have probably the lowest possible, which still doesn't lose you time by scraping the floor too much. Obviously there is no plank wear in the game, so we will not get a penalty for that. Brake pressure close to 100%, but not quite 100%, because to be fair, apart from the first sector, there is not really big braking zone on this circuit, so you just need to keep yourself stable and avoid tire locking, and you can make yourself easier with reducing the brake pressure just a little bit. And then the tire pressures in this game is the maximum is the fastest at the moment to our knowledge, but obviously things will change. You will need to adapt, but if you practice and just test things out on your own, you will always find your way to be fast. Good luck, guys, driving this game. Absolutely best of the luck to the team in real life racing. Thank you very much for watching. See you another time.